Imagine a world where honor was more valuable than gold, where a single stroke of a sword could decide a man's destiny, where warriors lived by a code so strict they'd rather die than break it. This was the world of the samurai. For over 1,000 years, the samurai shaped Japan, not just on the battlefield, but in politics, art, philosophy, and culture. They weren't just warriors. They were poets, monks, and strategists. Their influence is so powerful, it still echoes through modern Japan and the global imagination today. In this video, we take a journey through time, from the birth of the samurai during the early feudal wars to their transformation in the peaceful Edo period, and ultimately to their symbolic demise in the modern age. This is the entire history of samurai culture, told like never before. Our story begins during the Heian period, around the 8th century, when Japan was fractured. The emperor ruled in theory, but in reality, local lords wielded the power. To protect their land, these nobles hired warriors, men trained in combat, discipline, and fierce loyalty. These were the ancestors of the samurai. The term samurai means one who serves. Their job wasn't just to fight, but to serve their masters with absolute fidelity. Over time, they formed a distinct warrior class, built not only on strength but on a deepening code of conduct. Like molten steel poured into a mold, war and chaos gave shape to these warriors. And soon the mold hardened into something more permanent, a way of life. The Kamakura period in the 12th century brought real power to the samurai. When Minamoto no Yoritomo defeated rival clans and became shogun, he established a military government ruled not by emperors but by warriors. Now, the samurai weren't just protectors, they were the ruling class. It was during this time that the seeds of Bushido, the way of the warrior, began to grow. Though still unwritten, this evolving code emphasized loyalty, discipline, honor, and fearlessness in battle. Their values were tested by an extraordinary threat, the Mongols. Kublai Khan sent 2 invasions in the 13th century. And though the samurai fought bravely, nature played a decisive role. A typhoon destroyed the invading fleets, a kamikaze, or divine wind, that reinforced the belief that the samurai were defenders of a sacred land. The 15th and 16th centuries were a time of constant warfare, known as the Sengoku period. Japan was in chaos, with warlords clashing in a race for domination. Yet even as blood was spilled on the battlefield, the samurai were drawn to inner peace. Zen Buddhism found a stronghold among these warriors. The samurai began to embrace stillness, art, and reflection, learning that true mastery of the sword required mastery of the self. They practiced tea ceremonies, wrote poetry, and trained their minds as rigorously as their bodies. This strange mix, savagery and serenity, defined samurai culture. A man could be both a killer and a calligrapher, a destroyer and a designer of beauty. That balance became their identity. When Tokugawa Ieyasu united Japan in 1603, he ushered in more than peace. He ushered in purpose. For over 2 centuries, war nearly vanished. The samurai, however, did not. They transformed. Many became scholars, administrators, and artists. Their swords remained sheathed, more ceremonial than practical. But their identity endured through strict codes of behavior, daily rituals, and education in literature and philosophy. The samurai became the model citizen of feudal Japan, not just a man of war, but of words and wisdom. In 1853, Commodore Perry forced Japan to open its doors to the West. Rapid modernization followed. The emperor regained control, and in 1868, the Meiji Restoration began to dismantle the old ways. Samurai were stripped of their privileges. Their top knots were cut. Their swords were banned. For a class that had ruled for centuries, it was a humiliating descent. The final blow came in 1877 with the Satsuma Rebellion, led by Saigo Takamori. The rebellion failed, and Takamori took his own life, the last act of a samurai, true to his code. Today, the legacy lives on in martial arts, cinema, literature, and national identity. They inspire everything from samurai films to modern business ethics. Even in death, they became myth, symbols of unbreakable honor in a changing world. Samurai culture is not just about swords and battles. It's about how one chooses to live, to serve something greater than oneself, to die with dignity if necessary, but more importantly, to live with purpose. This is not just a story of warriors. It's the story of a civilization's soul. The legacy of the samurai isn't just written in history books. It's alive in the values we admire: honor, purpose, and the courage to stand for something greater than ourselves. If this journey through the world of the samurai inspired you, consider helping this channel grow by subscribing. Hit the like button if you felt the spirit of Bushido today, and share this video with others who would walk the path of the warrior, even just in spirit. And if you'd like to see more stories from history told like this, let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, stay honorable, and never stop seeking purpose. The story of the samurai is just one chapter in the epic tale of human history. If you enjoyed this journey, don't stop here. Watch our next video, where we explore another legendary civilization that shaped the world in unforgettable ways. Click now to step into the next story and keep the past alive, one legend at a time.